Hey there, hey, and welcome to another episode of What Jess Says Wednesday. Following me on IG, which you should be at SW Social Support, you've seen that we started on Monday the 15th, Stress-Free Spring. So I wanted to go over with you guys today what that looks like, what it is, and particularly what we're going to discuss today for this week's is network stress. So there are a bunch of different kinds of stressors, things that stress us out, and keep us stressed, particularly for superheroes and those that work in the line of helping others and working with others and working with trauma and all of those things. Network stress is stress that comes from those things around you, whether it be your family environment, your work in your home, the community environments you're involved in. They're stressors that originate from outside of you. And those stressors can be real or perceived. So a real stressor may be something like my spouse is ill, and that's a real stressor. A perceived stressor may be taking on the stress of someone else and making it your own. Either way, your body and your brain cannot differentiate between an actual stressor and a perceived stressor brought on by network stress. So we're going to talk about kind of what happens in our brain as well as what we can do to combat that. The first thing you should be doing is participating in hashtag stress-free spring. And what that is every day, both you and I will post a picture about how we cope with stress, what's going on for us, and it will be in line. So yesterday was Tough Truth Tuesday, and I talked about blowing away your stress and how that sounds so easy and simple and practical and applicable, but what happens when that doesn't work? What happens when the stressors that I have, both network and personally, outweigh my ability to cope? What do I do then? And how do I work through that? So today, in a little bit, I'll be posting my infographic for today, and it's lift up your head. So oftentimes when we're stressed out by both network stressors and personal stressors, we kind of like put our hands in our heads, just kind of we sit in that and we sit with it and we allow that stress to overtake us for whatever reason. Whether it's routine network stress of just, okay, well, I have so much to do and so little time to do it. How do I get everything done? How do I give my best in every area, every time, all the time, throughout? What does that look like for me and how can I maintain that? So today, the infographic is lift up your head. So oftentimes we look at our lives and our situations and our stressors and they're right here. And there's like an old proverb, I can't see the forest for the trees. So we kind of take a little bit of a step back and change our vantage point of how we're looking at things and how it impacts us. We're able to manage our stress in a different way. So I say that not to say, quit your job, leave your family, don't be responsible. But I say that to say there's so many options of practical, applicable skills you can put in place to help yourself. Like yesterday, we learned straw breathing. Straw breathing is just what it sounds like. It's the idea of pretending to breathe through a straw. And for me, I always think about when I do my inhale for my straw breathing, like I am like trying to suck a milkshake through a straw with an Oreo cookie at the bottom. So it's kind of like, and then breathing out like everything that's negative that like kind of holds me back is like. So that straw breathing is really just kind of stopping everything that's going on in your body and causing yourself to pay attention to what is going on in your body and how you're going to navigate through that. So oftentimes when we kind of put our head down and look solely at our stress and where we have that tunnel vision for only what's going on for us today right here, due to our network stresses, we don't have the time to really take that step back. So the straw breathing was kind of the way to say, hey, I'm going to actively work and engaging my entire body in straw breathing. You can't type an email in straw breathe. It's really like if I were to try and type on my laptop, which is right in front of me, and do my straw breathing, I couldn't do it. So it really stops you, and it also works in your brain to kind of tell your brain it's time to relax, it's time to cool off, it's time to calm down. And that is kind of how we get through stress. So in today's lesson, it really is just lifting up your head, and not focusing so much on what's happening, but how you can happen back to your life. What you can focus on, that's good. And oftentimes when stress comes to us, our network stresses particularly, we're overwhelmed with the to-do, to-be, to whatever is happening for or with us or in our network, and we... Did it work? Were you able to write an email and do it? For me, I can't. It could be my ADHD, but I wasn't able to write an email and do it. I've tried. But for the straw breathing, it's so important that we are acknowledging in that moment and kind of focusing solely on that to make sure that we are really focusing on us. So when I say like going through, I didn't think it was going to work. When we're focusing on just what's happening to us and we're allowing the stress to kind of build up in us, our brain, our amygdala and hippocampus are like, help, help, help. And we go into fight, flight, or freeze because our brain assumes something is very much wrong with us. When we stop and take that time out to acknowledge a way to be stress-free and to work through that, our brain says, okay, hey, I'm safe and I can kind of calm down, dial down. There's nothing happening to me right now and all is well. So that's really what we're working on throughout the rest of Stress Free Spring, and really identifying what our network stressors are. And again, those things can be home, the stressors of home. Like for me, when I leave here, I'm still a whole entire wife. That means that there's cooking and cleaning and dishes and husbands to take care of outside of my clients and my work and whatever else I have going on. In church, when I get there, there are other responsibilities that I fall into in that arena. At work, for my clients, there are so many other areas that stress shows up for me in. And oftentimes for people like me, I identify as an empath, which means that I'm sensitive in that the feelings and thoughts of others, they resonate very highly. It makes me a great therapist. It can also make me a very stressed person. So I have to be very, very careful of what I put in my suitcase. So when I think about stress-free spring, and I think about network stressors, I think about being in an airport, and they tell you over the airport all the time, don't take on baggage that belongs to someone else. And that sounds so simple in the airport. Okay, well, I won't pick up a stranger's bag, but in our lives, our network stressors happens where, okay, well, my mom is stressed, my husband is stressed, my best friend is stressed, and I'll take their stuff and I'll put their hazardous material into my suitcase, and then I'll put it on my back. And now I'm not walking through my stress. So everyone in my network that I care about, my clients, whoever, I put their stuff in my bag, in my suitcase, and I walk around now and I'm carrying that on my back. It's not like a cute little rolly suitcase. It's a backpack. So I'm literally putting all of their stuff. Sorry guys, excuse me. On my back. And I'm carrying it. So a very simple and practical way to do that, and I practice this with my clients and with myself particularly, is identify whose stuff is this. If it's my hazardous stuff, I need to take it out of my suitcase. If it's someone else's hazardous stuff, I probably shouldn't have picked it up, so I need to drop it where I'm at. Find the nearest security agent, the nearest TSA person, the nearest wherever, and dump off things that don't serve you, that don't belong to you, that are hazardous to your health. Because network stress is real. It is not something that somebody has made up. It is true. If you think about those that you love and that you care about, when they are not... Sarah says she has no room, she's got to carry on. When they are not well, you want to help. You want to take on their stuff. You want to help them kind of navigate through life. So now I'm taking things out of my suitcase that will help me to put on things that are hazardous for somebody else to help them. And the truth be told, once I'm at capacity, once you're at capacity, you're at capacity. There's nowhere else to go. Once you reach 50 pounds in that suitcase, 50 pounds, 0.1 ounce, trust me, I know, they want to charge you overreach. So now not only have I taken on the hazardous material from the network of people that I care and love about and put it into my suitcase, I now have an extra fee. It's going to cost me something to carry their stuff. And in Stress-Free Spring, we're focusing on, I can't carry your stuff. If it was hazardous for your health and it was hazardous to you, I can't carry it and put it in my bag. They tell me in the airport, if it doesn't belong to you, don't pick it up. So as much as I love you and I care about you, in order to make sure I can have a stress-free spring and complete this challenge for myself, I can't carry your stuff. I get it, you're upset and you're frustrated, but I've got to put this boundary up, not to keep you out, but to keep me safe. I've got to make sure my mental health is well, my spiritual health is well, my financial health is well. So I understand that you're in a financial bind. Maybe you should go to Financial Peace University. Maybe you should learn how to manage your money. I understand that, things aren't going well for you in your marriage. Maybe you should see a marriage therapist. I understand that you're not happy in your career. Maybe you should get some career counseling. Versus me taking on your stuff and saying, hey, well, what I did to budget was, hey, here's information on Financial Peace University. I'm not taking your stuff and your problems and putting it in my suitcase and carrying it with me. I'm giving you the tools and the resources to make a change for yourself. So now it's not hazardous to you or to me, but more importantly, I'm not carrying your stuff. And now that I've given you the tips and tools to get to where you need to be, what you do with it is also yours. So if you choose to remain in financial duress, even though I've given you my accountant, shout out to Carl's Accounting, even though I've given you a great resource for a therapist, I've given you a great marriage counselor, I've given you the information that you need, and you still choose to be in a place of hazard and being unwell, I won't take your stuff and put it in my suitcase. I only have space for things that serve me and grow me and help me to move forward. And that sounds selfish, and it's not. It's selfless, because if I take care of me, and I am selfless in how I go through and I combat and I fight for things that make me well and whole, when you need me, I can show up for you well and whole with a suitcase that has space to hold compassion and empathy and grace and mercy and temperance and meekness. I can show up for you wholly the way that I need to, because I am present for myself and I've worked on my hazardous material. I've taken it out of my bag. I'm not carrying things that won't get me through TSA. There's nothing aerosol in my bag, nothing that has any kind of dangerous lithium ion battery in it. Everything that would charge me negatively has been removed, and I've made it a point to not carry these, so that I can come through and say, hey, because I have emotional capacity, I have mental capacity, I have financial capacity, so maybe we can go to lunch and talk about this. Then, and only then, can I really live a stress-free spring? But more importantly, I can carry this stress-free spring into fall and winter and summer, and I can be well. I can be well to minister to others in my church and service, to be polite and friendly. And those are gifts. Like, let's talk about gifts of the Spirit. Those are gifts when you are polite to people and you can minister to them in places of their hurting because you're well. That is a gift, to stand between somebody's doorway of life and death and their hurt and their pain and their hazardous material suitcase and say, hey, because I'm well, I can love on you from a place of peace, from a place of understanding, from a place of grace and mercy. That is the benefit of saying, hey, I'm going to lift up my head from my hands and look up and be grateful for what I have. There's so many things in your life that you have that are direct results of things that you prayed for. I can say I'm sitting here in an office that I prayed for. So yeah, things aren't particularly how I would love them to be across the board, but there are so many things that have been manifested through my prayer and faith and being diligent. I'm not just saying pray and do that. I'm saying pray and work. So be present, but also get those around you who are hey, Jess, that doesn't belong in your suitcase. Get you an accountability part that says that is your TSA bag check, that before you go into your day, will ask you, did you pray? Are you fasting? Did you talk to your therapist? Are you journaling? Are you using your coping skills? How are you getting through? How are you remaining well? How are you staying focused and grounded? Are you using your straw breathing? Are you using your coping skills? Are you doing the things that you know that work for you? How are you staying well? And then stop checkpoints in your life. I had to learn, not everything that was good for me in terminal 1 is beneficial to me in terminal 2 of my life. So what might have worked for me in the fall is not working for me in the spring. Because in the fall, there wasn't all this showers, there wasn't all this rain. In the spring, it's raining and raining and raining and raining and raining and raining and raining. The leaves aren't falling, things are blooming. So I can't do what works for me in the fall and the spring season. I've got to be aware of what season I'm in and what works for me and how stress pops up in that season. So in the fall, my stress was I was raking leaves. In the spring, now I'm plucking up weeds. Because the season changed. So I have to go through and put those checkpoints in my life to say, hey, what am I carrying that was fall baggage, that worked for me in the fall, that ministered to me in that fall season, that helped in that fall season, that is not going to help in the spring. In the spring, I don't need a rake. I'm not raking anything up in the spring. That's not what I'm doing. In the fall, I needed to have my sprinkler set to once in the morning, once in the evening. In the spring, I don't need that. In the spring, it's raining. I need to adjust accordingly. So in that same thing, as you build boundaries, as you build fences and hedges about yourself and about your family, and you continue to build boundaries, you then are also going through and checking your baggage, that you're not carrying things that are hazardous to this season with you. So that means not only am I not picking up stuff that doesn't belong to me from network stress, but I'm looking into my suitcase and saying, hey, sorry guys. I'm looking into my suitcase and saying, hey, this doesn't serve for this weather. I don't need a fall winter jacket in the spring. I might need like a very lightweight windbreaker. So I don't need to be carrying into this next season what's not going to serve me in this season. So for stress-free spring, look up. Don't sit down and focus on your problems. Take them and put them a step back. Look at them from a different vantage point. Second thing, check your suitcase. Do not carry hazardous material. Do not put things in your bag that don't belong to you. Don't travel with other people's stuff. Don't allow your network stress to hold you down, bog you down, stress you out. Third, open your suitcase. Find out what's in there that's going to serve you well in this season. And if it doesn't serve you well, put it back in your closet. Put it somewhere different. If it's hazardous to your health and your growth in this season, don't use it. You don't want to overwater your plants. I'm a person, I love cacti, I love succulents. You cannot overwater those plants. Other plants need water on water on water on water on water. Cacti don't need that kind of thing. They need sunlight. So if I have a cactus garden and I'm constantly watering it, it's not going to work. But if I have a rose garden who needs more shade and more water, and I'm watering my roses accordingly, my roses will bloom, but it will drown out my cactus, and my cactus will not live. Identify what is hazardous to your health in this season. Constantly know yourself, examine yourself. Find out those things that put you into like that fight, flight, or freeze where your amygdala and your hippocampus are like, oh my gosh, this is too much. And don't do those things. Don't engage in those things. And lastly, if you are in South Florida and do not have a therapist and this resonates with you, reach out to me. If I'm not the person for you, if I cannot help you, I know someone who can. You can go and schedule an appointment for a consultation on my website, www.swsocialsupport.com. You can call and make an appointment at 954-225-9851. You can send me a speaker sheet. So if you're interested in having me speak somewhere, you need somebody to preach a conference for, you need somebody to come and talk to your young people, you need somebody to come and talk to your staff and your employees about mental health and stigma, and it's okay to not be okay, you can go to my speaker page, JessJefferson.com, put in a thing to work with me, put in the information of what your event is, what's going on. You can come see me at the Supervision Conference. You can come see me at Nova Southeastern University next week, Friday. 2 weeks from now, Friday, talking about mental health and superhero struggle. You can tune into my lives, subscribe to my blog. I send out a superhero SOL, self-care over struggle, twice a month to get you information to really help you navigate through. There are so many tools and resources, and I say that to just say this: don't do it alone. No matter what your path, no matter what your destination, no matter where you're going, everyone that goes to the airport that has a destination goes through TSA. Make sure you're doing your due diligence to check your baggage. Make sure you're not carrying hazardous material for somebody else. Check your mind. Make sure you're not carrying hazardous thoughts to yourself. Check your baggage to make sure the things that are going to serve you this season are there, and do what you know works. When all fails, go back to the basics. And if the basics don't work, get you some professional help. See a therapist. Find somebody that aligns with your issues, your problems, your mindset, your way of living, your whatever, and work with that person. Walk side by side with an expert in therapy as you're an expert in your life, and go through security checkpoint by checkpoint. Go through life checkpoint by checkpoint, boundary by boundary, season by season, stress-free. And again, I hope to see you guys at #stressfree spring. All right, guys, be well. I will talk to you guys next week, Wednesday.